perfect for you. My name handsome. She said your name fits you too. See, we was clicking, and after that, time just flew. Then that time came to talk to her pops. He gave his blessing, and then that mind frame I had was honoring and protecting. I knew she was the one when we met. I found my future girl, and no other woman compares to my girl.
Hey y'all, it is Masculinity here, and I have my co-host, my lovely Christmas tree, y'all. And we have got to talk to you guys about what has been going on with Mr. Russell Wilson and that former co-worker, okay? Let me tell y'all, I have been meaning to get on here and talk to y'all about Russell Wilson ever since Miss Ciara gave her statement at the Breakfast Club about her husband, okay? And how the gentleman from that podcast was talking about, oh, well, Russell Wilson, is lame because he wear tighty whities or white boxer briefs. What grown man is looking at someone else's underwear? You know what I'm saying? Well, let me just say this to you guys. Russell Wilson really is that dude. And it's apparent because when people do not like you or when they're envious of you, they just find things to say about you to have relevance, right? But let me tell y'all, there was a interview that was done on a podcast, I guess over Thanksgiving holiday, and the gentleman was talking about Russell Wilson and his family. So I want to go ahead and get into that. So we're going to have this clip from the Nightcap podcast show. So let's get into it.
One of the stories that we're about to talk about now is really upsetting to me. Ex-NFL quarterback Trevon Boykin said Thanksgiving at Russell Wilson's mansion felt weird because none of his family was around. Let's take a listen to what Boykin had to say, Ocho.
Yes, sir.
Russell Wilson, I went to his house for Thanksgiving. Uh-huh. The weirdest feel like he catered. So, bro, I come from a traditional country black family.
We doing that.
If I got as much money as Russell Wilson, my whole family would talk about me so bad if I ain't fly everybody out there for Thanksgiving. And
let me just say this, y'all. Why this man counting what's in Russell Wilson's bank accounts? You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna let it continue on. Okay.
Airline.
Yeah. Maybe he's not close to his family.
And maybe he not. But his mama wasn't there. Sisters wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And even though it's still weird to me. I'm just still even if you don't fool with your family, it's still weird to me on Thanksgiving. My family gonna do the food. That's just what we gonna. If you the one with the money, we coming to your house. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
That's what we gonna do. So to get over there and catch Russell Wilson, him is literally him, Ciara Daddy, me, Noonie, Baby Future, the chef, and 2 nannies, and 3 dogs. And Baby Future at that time was bad as hell.
Yeah. So y'all heard what he just said. First of all, why is he counting what's going on in Russell Wilson pockets? Now, if you guys may have heard a video he did, an interview several years ago, and he recounted his first date with Ciara, and he was talking about how she made a joke about his wallet, and the wallet may have been a little tattered, a little older of a wallet, and he told her that this wallet right here is dependable, okay, and everything in it is good. So if you with me, you ain't got to worry about nothing because I'm dependable like this wallet. Now, he didn't quite say it like that, but he was letting her know that he's dependable and that when you with him, you're going to be straight. And let me tell you, honey, she signed up for it and she ain't looked back on it. You know what I'm saying? So this is the thing. So yeah, maybe he was sponsored by an airline. If I recall correctly, wasn't his daddy in the NFL or playing professional sports? You know what I'm saying? So I know his father has passed away, to my understanding. I'm pretty sure his mom is set. She's doing pretty good. And I'm sure his siblings are too. And it's okay, maybe they didn't want to be at Russell's home for Thanksgiving. The lady has like 3 children, if I'm not mistaken. His mom. He has a brother and a sister, to my knowledge. So it's like I didn't go home for Thanksgiving this year. I had me a relaxing time at home. Who wants to travel on a Thanksgiving holiday? Look, I don't mind doing it on occasion, but I'm not doing it every year. So I understand that. But this is the thing. You talking about what your family would be doing. Why didn't you ask Russell Wilson if he could have got you to hook up with that sponsored airline to fly you to your family? Like, why didn't you ask for that? So, with Russell being the quarterback, that's a leadership position. This gentleman was, I think, like a backup quarterback. So I felt like Russell probably wanted to, bring him into the fold, not have him sitting at the house on Thanksgiving by himself or whatever. And so he invited him around his family. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't invite many people into my home, let alone around my family. So Russell was good for that. And this is another point I want to make right here. A lot of the guys who played with him previously complained about not having his phone number, right? He mentioned it in the clip. And this is the thing. So no one mentioned until now that Russell Wilson invited them into his home despite a holiday. Like, nobody has ever mentioned that to my knowledge. They always complain about we didn't have his phone number. He gave us some kind of Google Voice number, if you will. And, we never had his number. And he had an office. They were very hurt by that. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that this man was going to bring you into his home on Thanksgiving, that is a day that we all know to be about family and togetherness. He brings you in on that day, and you didn't think to say anything about that before now. But you get onto this podcast, this no name podcast, in my opinion. I never heard of it till this kind of went viral, to get clout on talking about Russell Wilson and his family during their private moments. You know what I'm saying? So Unk and Ocho went off when they, did their review, check them out. But I didn't want to recount all that here. But yes, y'all, I just feel like these men really have a problem with Russell Wilson because he's successful, he's good looking, he got money, he got a beautiful wife and a great family. Now, let me tell you this. I watched the Shannon Sharp interview with T-Pain that just came out. And T-Pain said that he could go broke and he would still be rich because he got a wife that love him and kids that like him. And that's what matters to him. And let me tell you, anytime you see Ciara talk about Russell Wilson, all you see is adoration, love, respect, all of that. She said whenever he look at her, she get pregnant. Okay, you know what's going on there, right? So let me tell you, these men that are sitting here criticizing Mr. Russell Wilson, they don't have that at home. Clearly, because if you have that at home, you're not worried about him. Now, how many times have we heard about Russell Wilson going to, play in a game? I want to say he went to Denver and they're playing like music from Future, trying to get in this man's psyche. You know what I'm saying? Russell Wilson has the fortitude of vibranium out of Wakanda because ain't nothing getting to him. Okay, he's been married to Ciara for about 10 years now, close to it if it's not that. And every time you turn around, they want to call this man a simp. They want to talk about why did he get with Ciara? Why would he get with, with Future baby mama and all this other kind of stuff? It don't matter. At the end of the day, that's who he chose to be with. So you need to respect what this grown man decided to do. Like, why isn't anybody holding Future accountable? This man at one point owed child support. As much money as we think Future has, why isn't his baby mamas had to, I guess, come together to request this financial assistance? You know what I'm saying? These are your kids. Okay, if I recall correctly, Russell Wilson had got like a bonus of some kind, and he gave, I think, like 10K per child to all of Future's siblings that are from Future, the daddy. Okay, why didn't anybody talk about the fact that Future should be paying his kid, taking care of his kids? But they want to sit here and clown this man because he is loving on his wife, accepting the child that she already had, taking care of him like he's a stand-up guy. He's a good guy. You can't go around it. Okay, he was married to a Caucasian woman before. It didn't work out. He decided to get with him a sister from the A, Miss Ciara. Okay, and let me tell you, he loving it, and that's why they mad. Because why is he with her? It's the same reason why they upset about Clay Thompson with Megan Thee Stallion. Because Megan Thee Stallion, Ciara, they got the look, they know how to dance, they got it going on. You know what I'm saying? Why are they with these type of dudes? They consider these dudes to be like straight laced and lame because they're not like them. But let me tell y'all something. At what point do men at what point do males go from being little boys to being grown men? Because why is it that you guys are so worried about what they're doing and you want to determine, if they're cool or not, essentially? Okay? Like that man was talking about what type of drawers Russell wearing. Why do you know what kind of drawers he wear? Why do you care, sir? This the man that was talking about he role played with his wife and he's like a stray cat or something. Y'all don't let me get started on him. You know what I'm saying? Something you should keep to yourself, okay? But look, y'all, I want you guys to hear this other video that I saw because it was some good information that was revealed in this clip. Let's get into it.
Cool. Yeah. But he was weird. I went to his house for Thanksgiving. The weirdest feel like he catered. If I got as much money as Russell Wilson, my whole family would talk about me so bad if I ain't fly everybody out there for Thanksgiving. And I'm sponsored by an airline.
Yeah. Maybe he's not close to his family.
And maybe he not. But his mama wasn't there. Sisters wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, like, it's still weird to me. I'm just still, even if you don't fool with your family, like, it still weird to me on Thanksgiving.
Why does Russell Wilson make so many men insecure? There's so many men got to find reasons and ways to undermine Russell Wilson. We also got to stop platforming ignorance, foolishness, and foolish people. Because why did Boykin know Russell Wilson? Oh, they were on the same team together with the Seattle Seahawks. Why did Boykin stop knowing Russell Wilson? Oh, because he got accused and pled guilty to punching his girlfriend's jaw and spent 3 years in jail.
I ain't hear him talk about that.
So why are you talking about how Russell Wilson should handle domestic situations if you don't know how to handle domestic situations? Why are you talking about how Russell Wilson should deal with his family if you don't know how to deal with your family? Let me stop.
My. Woo. My. That man said a word. Now, I was wondering, who is this man? And where did he come from? The guy that's trying to spill the tea. And this podcast, I think they're called Speakeasy. I have the name on the video still, so shout out to them. But I did not know that this man that's trying to spill tea on Russell Wilson is convicted felon. 3 years. Now, I also heard that when he was playing college football, that he was in San Antonio, my former home, and got into a fight the day before the Alamo Bowl and could not play in the game. Like, this man has constantly been screwing up. Okay? Like, why are you having the audacity and the gumption to speak on Russell Wilson when you ain't got your life together? You didn't have it together in college. You ain't got it together now. You around here going to jail for 3 years, hitting somebody in the jaw. Seriously, y'all, when that man said that these men, Russell Wilson triggers these men because let me tell you, he is everything that they will never be. That's what it is, honey. And I have been supporter of Russell Wilson since I lived in Washington State. When I lived out there, he was with the Seattle Seahawks, and he was always like going to the hospital, seeing this, doing different things for the community. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. That's why that was my first football team that I went for with Seattle. See, I have an actual little football from them. But yeah, Shaw, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't even bother anybody. He takes care of his family. He does his job, loves his wife, and he's enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? Like T-Pain said, as long as his family loves him, that's all he's concerned about. These men need to focus on their family if they got one, or get into a family. Okay, get you a woman that's gonna look at you with love and adoration. Okay, maybe you wouldn't be so focused on what Mr. Russell Wilson has got going on. Now, what I liked in this moment is how the gentleman that we just saw, Mr. Shannon Sharp, Mr. Ocho Cinco, and some others, how they have all came onto this internet here and supported Russell Wilson. Even Mr. Anton Daniels, they have gotten up here and made comments of support, because how dare you come to somebody's home and then want to talk about them being weird, and and how they didn't have their mom and their sister there. Why ain't you with your family? Seriously, you in the NFL, you didn't have money to get you a Frontier flight and fly home and go have that nice meal your family cooking? Like, come on. And one thing I will say, I'm from the South, and kind of like what Mr. Shannon Sharp said, we always do Thanksgiving at my parents' house. That's where it's at. The kids have done well. They have really nice places, but when we get home, when we get together for the family Thanksgiving or whatever the family event is, it's at my parents' house. We all contribute to whatever we're gonna do, food, cooking, decorations, whatever. That's how it is for us Southerners. Okay. Yeah, like that's the reason why Ciara looked the way that she do and she can move like she do, is because Russ has created for her a soft life. Okay, you know how you saw that man mention how she got 2 nannies. Okay, she got 2 nannies. They got a chef. He can't afford that. He don't want his wife tired when he get home. He want her to be fresh and rejuvenated. Okay, he got that lady some help. Okay, what is wrong with that when you can't afford it? See, that's the problem. People always want to try to knock what they can't afford, what they can't do. Because baby, if you had the coins, you'll be doing it. Why not? Shoot. Let me tell you, I sat there and cooked Thanksgiving dinner one day years ago. Okay, I retired from that, y'all. And I literally was on my feet all day. By the time 5 o'clock hit, my feet were sore. Baby, that was my last time cooking Thanksgiving dinner like that. Okay? We do a truncated meal over here in the St. Fashionista residence. But let me tell you, you know what I'm saying? I like the fact that we have had men step up and say, you know what? I understand now why Russ Wilson didn't give out his phone number, because you got people acting like that, coming into your house. And no, I don't have people coming to my home like that. You know what I'm saying? No good deed, goes unpunished, as my mama would say. It don't. This man opened up his home trying to allow his teammate to come in, celebrate with his family. I'm bringing you in. Okay? You can, you ain't got to bring nothing. Just come have a good time. And you want to go and wait years to get on this internet and try to get on the bandwagon. Let's talk about Russ Wilson bandwagon and get some views, huh? And you got them views, but you also that had your past exposed, Mr. I'm a convicted felon. Okay. You also expose the fact that, okay, yeah, we've only heard that he doesn't give out his phone number, but nobody ever mentioned that he opened up his home to people. You brought out another side to Russ that nobody had talked about. We thank you for that. You made people understand now why he probably was a bit reserved with some of these people, because everybody ain't on your level. They not. Okay, a lot of these men want to complain. Well, you know, he's dating this single mother. I know I'm going on the same tangent, but I really want to repeat it because I want to repeat it. That why are you worried about this man dating someone who already had a child? He can't afford it. Okay, if you are worried about, you know, I don't get the obsession that these men have with this man dating a woman or marrying a woman that has a child, and they now have three other kids together and talk about having another one for cinco. Okay, this is the same man. 'Cause didn't he, like, a few months ago? Did they like change Little Future's name to Russell's last name? It was something like that going on in the news. I forgot how it went. If they were just saying it or was it legally done? But you can tell that you know, Future respects his Papa Russ, as he calls him. You know what I'm saying? And when I see photos of the family, I quite often see Little Future standing next to Russ on most of the pictures. I have seen that. And it's good because that just shows that, you know, sometimes when you have a blended family, if you will, you may see, you know, like, you know, the children that came from each parent on that side. No, this little boy is on Papa Russ. I'm like, you know, that's what's up. I like that. You know, he came in when he was very small and he's been there, you know, almost since day one. And I think that's great for Miss Ciara. Now, I believe in that what is for you is for you. You know what I'm saying? So if that is the way that the Lord wanted this to work out for them, then that's what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe she needed to have experienced the likes of Future in order to appreciate what Russ is bringing to the table. But either way it go, Russ is a grown man. He makes his own decision, and he got the money to take care of what he want to take care of. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand. I personally did not want to date a man with kids when I was younger, and not really now, to be honest with you. But you know, I might relax that. I don't know. But the point is, I understand the point where you don't want to have another person outside your household kind of having a little bit of influence in what you're doing in your household. Meaning, you know, if you have a child with someone else, you know, well, are we going to have him or her here for Christmas here? You know, you got to coordinate and organize things. Nothing wrong with that. But you know what? If you don't have to do it, then why do it, right? But my point is this: it doesn't seem to me that Future is having any impacts in the Wilson household like that. You know what I'm saying? Russell got the coins to do what need to be done for all the kids and Ciara. I don't see where there's any issues that they have made visible regarding, you know, family time, what they got going on. Life is continuing. They're going where they need to go. And I would say that, you know, Future should be thanking Russ Wilson for how well he treats his son. I tell you what, I saw a video a few months ago, and this man was saying how he and his ex-wife, you know, got divorced. They had two sons, and his ex-wife met and married another man, and his sons uh, were positively influenced by their now stepdad. They got him, you know, I think the stepdad got them involved in like taekwondo and different sports and hunting things, but different things like that. And he spent quality time with his two kids, this stepdad did. And so he said that when he was at his son's graduation, he said that he was there, he yelled for his son, and when he was done yelling, there was another male voice in the crowd still yelling, and that was the stepdad. And that's when he realized that that stepdad cared just as much about his sons as he did. And then he did a post because he wanted to thank this man for not only taking care of his sons, loving his sons, but also being a positive role model and influence for his sons. And he said that it pained him to have to say that, but he said that it was true. This man, you know, has done right by his kids, that man's stepkids. So I don't understand why men can't, you know, wake up and be like, you know what? He's doing an excellent job You know, I probably couldn't do it, right? But he is. So let me give him kudos. Let me give him, accolades. But instead, they want to sit there and dump on Russell Wilson, right? But then don't say nothing about Future, who wasn't taking care of his kids, but creating more of them. I don't understand. I don't understand the male logic, if that's what you're going to call logic. But anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys what was going on with that. Um, Shout out to Russell Wilson for being a stand-up human being, a great man with a great family, and more blessings to them. If you're still here, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Okay. And yeah, I put out I do. So first of all, if you're still here, I normally do like fashion content, but I also like a little bit of lifestyle, a little bit of DMV. I mix it up, you know what I'm saying? And yes, so I do live streams usually on Thursdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check me out. And with that, y'all, I will see you on my next video or live stream. Bye.
Oh, that sweet God.